Namaskar. Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has assured the country that there would be no supply disruption to India following the weekend attacks on the oil stabilization centers in Saudi Aramco. Now, Pradhan has also said that the top executives of Aramco, they have been contacted to ensure steady supply to India. The Indian ambassador in Riyadh is in contact with the senior management of Aramco to ensure that crude supply to India is not affected. And overall, crude oil supplies for the month of September also have been reviewed by the oil marketing companies in our country. And Dharmendra Pradhan has said that his ministry is closely monitoring the evolving situation in the global oil market. But, well, that evolving situation is going to be the topic of our discussion tonight here on Newsnight. But first, here are the headlines. The Supreme Court asks all parties to conclude arguments by October 18th in the land ownership dispute. The doors of mediation are open. The government has given a gift to railway employees. Union Cabinet approves a 78-day reward bonus to more than 11 lakh railway personnel. Nod to ordinance on the ban for production and sale of e-cigarettes. The BJP sounds the poll bugle in Jharkhand. The BJP President Amit Shah says that the party will form the government with an absolute majority. Says the decision on Article 370 has put Pakistan in its place. Asks Rahul Gandhi to clarify his stand on Article 370. "15 energy projects inaugurated in Jammu and Kashmir. Foundation stone of 20 more projects laid. Union Minister Prakash Javadekar says situation is normal in the state. Restrictions now only in 8 to 9 police stations. World support continues for India on the issue of Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. 2 EU MPs condemn Pakistan for sheltering terrorists. They say that terrorists do not come from the moon to attack India. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Both leaders discuss several issues. The second T20 match between India and South Africa at Mohali is underway. South Africa has set a target of 150 runs for India to win after India had won the toss and taken the field. And Indian wrestler Vinesh Phogat qualifies for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. She wins the bronze medal in the 53 kg category at the World Championships. Here's our top story. The Supreme Court on Wednesday has set a deadline. The October 18th is the deadline now for conclusion of hearings in the Ram Janambhoomi Babri Masjid land title dispute case. The Apex Court also said that the parties to the dispute can amicably resolve this matter through mediation, but the court made it clear that it wanted to conclude day-to-day hearings by October 18 so that the judges can get almost 4 weeks' time to write the judgment. Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi, who heads the Constitution Bench, is due to retire on November 17.
Hope has increased for an early resolution of the Ayodhya land dispute. On the 26th day of the hearing, all parties assured the Supreme Court that they would complete their arguments within the stipulated time. The Constitution Bench of the Apex Court, which is hearing the matter, has asked all parties to complete their arguments by the 18th of October.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो डेडलाइन घोषित की अच्छा किया है। 130 साल बाद फाइनली जजमेंट आएगी और हम खुश हैं, हमारे पंच भी खुश हैं इससे।
The bench told all parties that it wants to complete the ongoing hearing by 18th October so that the judges could get around 4 weeks to script their verdict. Time is of the essence and the Constitution Bench's request contextually significant, as Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi is retiring on November 17th. All parties to the dispute have welcomed the Supreme Court's intention to complete the hearing expeditiously.
मध्यस्थों भी के बात जो भी आ जाएगा सो आ जाएगा, लेकिन मध्यस्थता हो तो भी कोटे में होगा मध्यस्थता, और कहीं होना नहीं है, बाहर तो कुछ होना नहीं है।
जिस तरह से एक फास्ट तरीके से सुनवाई चल रही है और उन्होंने माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि 18 अक्टूबर सुनवाई पूरी कर ली जाएगी और नवंबर के प्रथम सप्ताह तक निर्णय आ जाएगा। अच्छी बात है कि इतनी जल्दी निर्णय अगर जो आ जाता है तो पूरे हिंदू और पूरे विश्व के सनातन धर्मियों के लिए बहुत ही अच्छी बात होगी।
मैं चाहता हूँ अदालत जल्द से जल्द इसका फैसला दे, क्योंकि बहुत ज़माने से ये चल रहा था, केस चल रहा है और रोज़ हर आदमी की निगाहें सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऊपर है और मैं चाहता हूं कि जल्द से जल्द इस मसले का फैसला हो।
The five-judge Constitution Bench, headed by Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi, also kept open the possibility of resolution through mediation. The court has received a letter from former Supreme Court Judge FMI Kalifullah stating that some parties had approached him about resuming the mediation process. The Constitution Bench said, "There is an ancillary issue. We have received a letter that some parties want to settle the matter by way of mediation." The bench noted that with day-to-day hearings, the land dispute case had reached an advanced stage. The mediation process under a three-member court-appointed committee headed by Justice Kalifullah commenced on March 8th. It was given 8 weeks to reach a resolution but failed to do so despite wide consultation with all parties in Faizabad and despite an extension of time till August 15th. The Supreme Court decided to hear the case on a daily basis from the 6th of August. The Apex Court is currently hearing appeals filed against the Allahabad High Court order of September 2010, which distributed the 2.77 acres of disputed land in Ayodhya equally between the Shunni Waqf Board, Nirmohi Akhara and Ram Lalla. With Vikas Sarthi and Anil Punya, Newsnight Desk, DD News, Delhi.
The Union Cabinet has approved a 78-day bonus for railway employees. The Information Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said that 11.52 lakh employees will benefit from this decision and that the government is rewarding productivity. The Cabinet also approved an ordinance to ban production, import, distribution and sale of electronic cigarettes. The decision to prohibit e-cigarettes will help protect the population, especially the youth and children, from the risk of addiction through e-cigarettes.
In a big bonanza for employees of the Indian Railways ahead of the festive season, the Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved a bonus equivalent to 78 days' wages for them. The productivity-linked bonus will benefit over 11,52,000 railway employees. This is for the 6th consecutive year that productivity-linked bonus is being given to railway employees.
इस साल भी उनको 78 दिन का वेतन बोनस के रूप में मिलेगा। ये 11 लाख रेलवे एम्प्लॉइज को यानी उनके फैमिलीज को भी इसका फायदा होगा। इसके लिए 2024 करोड़ रुपए खर्चा होगा और बड़ी बात यह है कि लगातार 6 साल किसी सरकार ने लगातार 78 दिन का बोनस दिया है।
In another major decision concerning the health of youth, the Union Cabinet approved an ordinance for banning production, import, distribution and sale of electronic cigarettes. The ordinance also proposes a jail term for those violating the provisions.
It means production, manufacturing, import, export, transport or sale or even distribution and storage and advertisement relating e-cigarettes are all banned. The Cabinet therefore has taken this clear decision about banning e-cigarettes in all these 9 forms, and therefore this decision is taken keeping in mind the impact that e-cigarettes is having on the youth of today.
As per the ordinance, which will come into effect after the assent of the President, first-time violators will face a jail term of up to 1 year and a fine of 1 lakh rupees. For subsequent violations, a jail term of up to 3 years or a fine of 5 lakh rupees or both has been proposed. Storage of electronic cigarettes will also be punishable with an imprisonment of up to 6 months or fine up to rupees 50,000 or both. The owners of existing stocks of e-cigarettes on the date of commencement of the ordinance will have to automato declare and deposit these stocks with the nearest police station.
The punishment proposed is imprisonment up to 1 year and or fine of 1 lakh for the first offence and a 3-year and or fine of 5 lakh for the subsequent offence. It has been made a cognizable offence except storage, which is non-cognizable.
The decision to ban e-cigarettes comes on the back of an advisory issued by the government in 2018 to all states to consider banning e-cigarettes. 16 states and 1 union territory have already banned these cigarettes in their jurisdictions. The Indian Council of Medical Research, in a recent white paper on the subject, also recommended a complete ban on e-cigarettes based on currently available scientific evidence. The WHO has also urged member countries to take appropriate steps, including prohibiting these products. With inputs from Sudhakar Das, Bureau Report, DD News.
And the Bharatiya Janata Party has kicked off its poll campaign in Jharkhand. The party president and Union Home Minister Amit Shah launched the Johar Jan Ashirwad Yatra and addressed a public meeting in Jamtara. And Amit Shah said that the Modi government has taken this historic decision of abrogating Article 370 and appealing to the people to vote for the BJP. He dared the Congress party to clarify its stand on Article 370. Here's more.
With BJP President Amit Shah launching the Johar Jan Ashirwad Yatra from Jamtara in Jharkhand, BJP has kick-started its poll campaign for the upcoming assembly elections in Haryana, Jharkhand and Maharashtra. Addressing a public meeting at Kali Mandir ground in Jamtara, Amit Shah said that Modi government has taken a historic decision with regard to Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir. He challenged Congress leader Rahul Gandhi to clarify his party's stand on Article 370.
मोदी जी ने धारा 370 हटाई, धारा 35 से हटाई, कश्मीर को भारत का अभिन्न अंग बनाया। मोदी जी ने अच्छा किया या बुरा किया? अब ये कांग्रेस वालों को पेट में क्या दुखता है भाई? मोदी जी धारा 370 को हटाने के लिए बिल लेकर आए, वोटिंग हुआ, कांग्रेस पार्टी ने इसके खिलाफ वोट, झारखंड मुक्ति मोर्चा ने इसके खिलाफ वोट। मैं पूछना चाहता हूं राहुल गांधी जी से, आप जब झारखंड में आए स्पष्टता करिए, आप धारा 370 हटाने के पक्ष में है या विरोध में?
Amit Shah appealed to the voters to vote for BJP and give the Raghubar Das government another opportunity to serve the people of the state. He said that BJP government in Jharkhand has transformed the state by putting it on the development track.
गांव-गांव में बिजली पहुंची है, घर-घर में पीने का पानी पहुंचाने की योजनाएं बनी, घर-घर में शौचालय बना है, सस्ता अनाज हर आदिवासी के घर में पहुंच रहा है, किसान को 30,000 से लेकर 6,000 रुपया तक मिल रहा है, हर घर में बिजली पहुंची है, हर घर में स्वास्थ्य की सुविधाएं पहुंची है। ये झारखंड को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए 5 साल तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने बहुत किया।
During the Johar Jan Ashirwad Yatra, Chief Minister Raghubar Das will cover a distance of 581 kilometers in 7 days. He will travel through 6 districts of Sautal Pargana division and address public meetings. Senior BJP leaders, several ministers and MLAs of the state will be accompanying the Chief Minister to highlight the achievements of Raghubar Das government. Divakar Kumar's report, DD News, Jamtara.
Well, the BJP has sounded the poll bugle in Maharashtra as well. The Prime Minister will be addressing a public meeting in Nasik in Maharashtra tomorrow, which will conclude the BJP's Mahajan Yatra.
The BJP is getting into election mode for the assembly polls in Maharashtra, expected by the end of this year. In a major boost to the party, a number of leaders from the opposition parties have joined the BJP. Ahead of the polls, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis launched the Mahajan Yatra and travelled across the state to highlight the achievements of his government over the past 5 years. The mega roadshow will conclude in Nasik on Thursday with Prime Minister Narendra Modi present on the occasion. Elaborate arrangements have been made for the mega event, which is expected to be attended by about 1.5 lakh people. Maharashtra Chief Minister will take out a roadshow ahead of the public meeting on Thursday.
वैसे मैं उत्तर महाराष्ट्र ही कहूँगा, क्योंकि स्वागत के लिए पूरा तैयार है। आपने देखा तपोवन, जहाँ पर 20-25 एकड़ में हम लोगों ने पूरे टेंट लगाए, क्योंकि बारिश का कोई भरोसा नहीं आजकल। कल भी रात को बारिश थी, अभी भी बारिश है, अनुमान भी बारिश का है, इसलिए पूरी तैयारी, मतलब करीब 1.25 लाख लोग बैठेंगे, ऐसा टेंट हमने लगाया है वहाँ पर।
During the month-long Mahajanadesh Yatra, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis covered 4,000 kilometers and highlighted the initiatives of his government. The Yatra covered parts of Vidarbha, northern Maharashtra and Marathwada. It kicked off from the Mojri village in Amravati in Vidarbha, a place where Rashtra Sant Tukdoji Maharaj resided and will culminate in Nasik, the venue of Simhastha Kumbh. The two vehicles used by party President Amit Shah in Uttar Pradesh and former MP Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan have been made available for the Yatra.
Mahajanadish Yatra have travelled almost 4,000 kilometers in the state and of course have touched down almost various districts in Maharashtra. This is an important Yatra for the BJP as the BJP and the government try to put the work in front of people what they've been done since last 5 years, and that's the reason the entire party cadre swung into action. With camera person Rajesh Riki, Anuj Yadav, Shirshila for DD News, Nashik.
The West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee today called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi. She raised the issue of the state's renaming and also invited Prime Minister Modi to West Bengal. The meeting at the residence of the Prime Minister lasted for about half an hour. Mamata Banerjee said that the discussion was not political but focused on development issues of the state. She met the Prime Minister for the first time after the BJP-led NDA under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to power for a second term.
मैं आप लोग को यही कहना चाहती हूँ कि हमारा जो मीटिंग था प्राइम मिनिस्टर के साथ वो बढ़िया हुआ, अच्छा हुआ। भरोसा तो रहना पड़ता है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में, लोकतंत्र में भरोसा करके तो चलना पड़ता है। स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, दे आर आल्सो इलेक्टेड, वी आर आल्सो इलेक्टेड। एक साथ में गवर्नमेंट के लिए तो काम करना पड़ता है ना, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल ऑब्लिगेशन तो होता है।
And heavy rains continue to cause rivers to swell and create a flood-like situation in many parts of the country. Here's the situation in north and central India.
It's mid-September now, but rains continue to disrupt normal life in various parts of the country as flood-like situation is still persisting. After Madhya Pradesh and Bihar, the water levels in the Ganga have risen in Uttar Pradesh too, causing an alarm. In Uttar Pradesh, heavy rains and the release of water from different dams in various parts of the state have caused a flood-like situation in the low-lying areas. Ganga has crossed the danger level in Varanasi. 28 villages have reportedly been submerged in the flood waters. In some areas, people are even forced to leave their houses and move to other places. It is for the first time after 2013 that Ganga river in Varanasi has crossed the danger mark. Heavy rain has wreaked havoc in Prayagraj too, with the rivers overflowing. The water level in the Ganga has crossed the danger mark, while Yamuna is also nearing the danger mark. With the low-lying areas submerged, thousands of people are forced to move to safer areas and relief camps. The affected people are concerned about the security of their belongings they were forced to leave behind before moving.
हम लोग नाव पे ही अपना जीवन व्यतीत करते हैं परिवार के साथ। कितने लोग परिवार के रहते हैं? हम लोग करीब 5 आदमी यहाँ पर हैं। पूरा काम? हाँ, बाजार से मार्केट से ले आते हैं, अपना राशन पानी नाव पे बना खा लेते हैं। नाव पे खाना पीना सोना सब? हाँ, और हमारी झुग्गी झोपड़ी डूब गई है।
किसी का घर का सामान डूब रहा है, बच्चे लोग हैं, सब छोटे से बड़े लोग को सबको बाहर कर रहे हैं। ये इस बार तो हमने देखा 2013 में जो बाढ़ देखा था, इस बार तो लग रहा है उसका भी रिकॉर्ड टूटेगा। चारों तरफ से जिधर ही सुनो उधर ही बांध का पानी निकल रहा है। खतरे से कम नहीं है, ज़्यादा हो गया है खतरे।
In Mirzapur and Ghazipur too, the flood threat is looming large. Those affected are moving to relief camps. In the wake of the rising water levels in Ganga and Yamuna, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has directed the officials to step a vigil in Prayagraj and Varanasi. The Chief Minister has directed to activate dam checkposts and put in place all the necessary measures and arrangements to deal with the situation. He's also ordered distribution of financial relief to the affected within 12 hours. He took stock of flood relief measures in Balia on Tuesday. In Patna, the heavy rains on Tuesday has led to waterlogging in many areas. There were reports of some police personnel getting injured after trees were uprooted following heavy rains and strong winds.
पानी अभी घर में घुस गया, लगभग बहुतों आदमी के घर में पानी घुस भी गया है। कुछ बाकी है, जो जिसका घर में पानी घुस गया है वो लोग रोड पे जाके रह रहे हैं जैसे तैसे। लोग मक्का उक्का लगाए थे वो भी सब डूब गया गंगा के पानी में।
रह रहे हैं रोड पे, कहूँ पन्नी तान के ऊपर में ऐसे पक्का में पन्नी तान के रहते हैं।
अब तो सबके घरे घरे पानी घुसे गए, सब रोड पर से खड़ा कि पानी के रफ्तार अभी कमल से कि बढ़ रहा से बढ़ ही रहा।
Some other districts of the state are also facing the brunt of heavy rains. In Munger, flood situation continues to remain grim. Standing crops in thousands of acres of land have also been affected, making the farmers suffer. The Central Water Board has said that the water level in Ganga will continue to be on the rise for some time.
डेंजर लेवल है 39-33
और अभी वाटर लेवल आपका चल रहा है 38-65 12 बजे का। तो उम्मीद किया जा रहा है कि पानी अभी बढ़ेगा, इस पर हम लोग निगरानी रख रहे हैं।
In Madhya Pradesh, heavy rains have lashed several districts including Bhopal, Neemuch, Bhing and Mandsaur for the past few days. In Bhing, normal life has been affected due to heavy rains. The NDRF teams have also been deployed for rescuing those affected. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Well, the situation continues to remain normal in Jammu and Kashmir. On Wednesday, 15 development projects were inaugurated and the foundation stones for 20 more were laid. And Union Minister Prakash Javadekar said that the situation is normal in the Union Territory and restrictions continue in only 8 to 9 police station limits. Meanwhile, Pakistan also continues to be isolated on the issue of cross-border terrorism.
Normalcy prevails in Jammu and Kashmir. Nearly 1.5 months after abrogation of special status to Jammu Kashmir under Article 370 and 35A. Traffic plied on roads and shops and government offices remained open as people went on with their daily lives freely. The centre too has reiterated that normalcy continues to prevail in the state. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said after a cabinet meet on Wednesday that National Conference leader Farooq Abdullah has been free for nearly 35 days of the government's historic August 5th declaration, and only after that was he arrested. He said that only 8 to 9 police station areas have restrictions upon them.
Government affidavit has categorically stated कि 9 या 10 पुलिस स्टेशन में केवल 144 है, रिस्ट्रिक्शंस है, बाकी जगह फ्री मूवमेंट है और बाकी सब काम चल रहा है। नंबर 1। नंबर 2, फारूक अब्दुल्ला को परसों ये कानून के तहत गिरफ्तार किया है, या आपका कहना सही है? इसका मतलब पिछले 35 दिन वो गिरफ्तार नहीं थे।
The government is now fully focused on developmental work in the state. Energy Minister R.K. Singh was in Srinagar on Wednesday and 3 agreements on energy between the centre and the state were signed. 15 projects were inaugurated while foundation stones were laid for another 20.
हमको लड़ाई के बजाय जम्मू कश्मीर की तरक्की के आधार पे उसको हम ले सकते हैं। अगर हम जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों को इज्जत दे सकें, अपने सर पे बिठा के दिखा सकें, पूरे देश में उनको सबसे बेहतरीन और शानदार नागरिक बना के दिखा सकें, यहाँ के बच्चों के भविष्य की रक्षा कर सकें, यहाँ कारोबार ला सकें, यहाँ खुशहाली ला सकें और यहाँ इतनी बिजली ला सकें कि हमारी चमक पीओके में दिखे, तो मैं गारंटी करता हूं साल भर में पीओके में उपद्रव हो जाएगा और आपको बिना लड़ाई के पीओके मिलेगा। पीओके का एक आदमी ये कहने लगेगा कि हमको उस तरफ जाना है।
Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, we will give 24/7 supply. That is our ambition, and we will achieve that ambition, whether it is winter or whether it is summer or whenever. Beginning the winter which is coming, let us prepare for that, and we promise you, and we'll stand true to our promise that your coming winter, the power situation will be better than it was last time.
This winter is going to be very, very special for Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and the reason is better power supply. And in this regard, government has made all possible efforts. Today in Srinagar, Governor Satyapal Malik and Power Minister R.K. Singh inaugurated 15 projects and laid foundation stone for 20 projects. With this, the vision of Prime Minister for 24/7 power supply to every house would be a reality.
Meanwhile, the CPWD has been entrusted with the added responsibility of completing infrastructure work costing 5,000 crore rupees. Earlier to the agency was already looking after work amounting to a similar amount of expenditure before abrogation of 370. As a major thrust to generate employment, the Jammu Kashmir Light Infantry has launched a massive recruitment drive to fill 2,780 vacancies on the 3rd and the 4th of October.
2,780 वैकेंसी रिलीज हुई हैं फॉर रिक्रूटमेंट इनटू जैकलाई, एआरओ जम्मू, एआरओ श्रीनगर और जैकलाई सेंटर इन वैकेंसीज के लिए रैली कंडक्ट करेंगी।
Meanwhile, international support for the Indian government's decision on 370 over Jammu Kashmir continues to pour in. Member of the European Parliament, Ryszard Czarnecki, on Wednesday said the European Parliament should support India on the issue of terrorism, adding that those who perpetrated terror attacks in Kashmir did not come from the moon.
Here is one of the most beautiful areas of India, and with security and stability could be so enormously prosperous. But for over 70 years it has had an unsettled status and has been under threat afflicted by externally sponsored terrorism and extremism, and at last there is an opportunity to rectify this situation.
He also said that Pakistan's threat to use nuclear weapons is a cause of concern for the EU as well. He slammed Pakistan as a country that violates human rights and one where terrorists train for deadly attacks in Europe. With Vishal Baristo in Srinagar. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Well, after the attack on Saudi oil company Aramco, the prices of crude oil have become volatile. India is dependent on foreign imports for more than 80% of its crude oil, and India is closely monitoring the global situation. The Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said that India is keeping an eye on the situation arising out of the attack in Saudi Arabia, and the government is in constant touch with Aramco officials who have assured India of an uninterrupted supply. So what is the Saudi oil crisis? Let's take a look at the Saudi oil crisis. Saudi oil company Aramco's facilities were attacked by drones on the weekend, on Saturday, and Houthi rebel group had claimed responsibility for the attacks. But the attack also raised concerns about crude oil supplies globally. Naturally, that would be a reaction. But Saudi Arabia announced a cut, in fact, by about 50% of its oil production, spooking the markets. And people were concerned. The decision sent shocks in the global oil market. As a result of that, crude oil prices rose nearly 20% in a single day. So that was quite a concern. But it was the highest spike, in fact, in 30 years. So naturally, people started thinking. The US, of course, discounted the Houthi claims, and they held that Iran was responsible for these attacks, bringing in a global strategic angle into the entire debate. Iran denied all the allegations, so that's the current state. Iran has said it has nothing to do with it. Increasing tensions between the US and Iran impacts the supplies of oil. Well, India, of course, is dependent. Oil imports, dependent countries are the most likely to suffer from this kind of situation, and we did say that India is dependent on oil. So the challenges for India, the oil crisis is some sort of a challenge for India, though the oil minister says that that's not the case. India needs to maintain high growth rate, which is possible only through energy security. That is quite natural. So currently, Saudi Arabia is the second largest oil exporter to India, and Saudi Arabia accounts for about 20% of India's oil imports. 20% of India's oil imports. At present, India has enough reserves to tide over the crisis, so that's a good thing. But the question is that India is also closely monitoring the situation. Currently, we are okay. If oil prices sustain high levels, it is likely to adversely impact GDP growth in our country. And India's current account deficit is also likely to increase as a result of this. So we're going to put all this into perspective with a guest in the studio. So do stay with us. We're taking a short break.
Come on boys, let's go practice. अरे रुक यार, मेरे बैंक अकाउंट में गलत एंट्री का प्रॉब्लम हो गया है। तो बैंक को कंप्लेन करना। बैंक को लिखे 1 महीना हो गया है, बट वो गूगली पे गूगली डाले जा रहा है। तो आरबीआई के बैंकिंग लोकपाल को इन्फॉर्म करो।
रुक, मैं समझाता हूँ। जैसे क्रिकेट में थर्ड अंपायर, वैसे ही आरबीआई का बैंकिंग ओम्बुड्समैन। आरबीआई कहता है अगर बैंक आपकी कंप्लेंट को 1 महीने में नहीं सुलझाता तो आरबीआई के बैंकिंग ओम्बुड्समैन में कंप्लेंट करो। यह आरबीआई का आसान तरीका है आपकी कंप्लेंट सुलझाने का, और वो भी फ्री।
समझे?
आरबीआई कहता है जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
And so, in focus tonight, this is in focus. Volatility in oil prices, short term or long term. That's what we are going to discuss, whether it's short term or long term, and the impact as a result of that. And to discuss this, we have in the studio Himanshu Vats, senior editor of the Economic Times, and also joining us on the video link is R.S. Sharma, former chairman of ONGC. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being with us. We'll start with you, Mr. Sharma. So we have certain amounts of reserves. We have quite a lot of foreign exchange reserves, so that's a different kind of reserve, but we have oil reserves for a reasonable period of time. How well do you think we can handle this situation?
Well, Mark, we can handle the situation in the short run.
Yes.
Short run, I mean to say 2 to 3 weeks. But beyond that, it will be difficult to sustain. That is the issue of the uncertainty, and more important, not only the actual supplies. Our economy is highly vulnerable about the prices.
Yes.
We had seen the initial spike of about 19%, and then this comfort came that supplies will be restored within 2 to 3 weeks. But now the major concern is what sort of retaliatory action will be taken by Saudi or the US.
Okay.
Is it there going to be escalation of the tensions in the Gulf? And in any case, there's going to be a premium to that uncertainty. Crude oil prices, to my mind, are going to stay a bit higher.
Okay.
To what extent, difficult to say, but surely I feel they are going to be higher than the current levels.
Right. Mr. Watts, well, there was a hike. It spiked by about 19.5% in a day, but it's fallen again. So, so it's currently at about $63 or $64 per barrel, and it had gone to 70. So, and this has probably been the range that it has been. So, are we, overreacting?
We're overreacting to the extent that, there seems to be some misplaced sense of panic that what's gone wrong.
Okay.
Now, the mature reaction to this should be, it's a reminder that, we are overly dependent on imports, and therefore, for no fault of ours, we suddenly need to pay more for crude oil.
Yes.
And those aspects are there. But if you look at this situation, what happened is perhaps the worst that can happen to the oil market. It's the OPEC heavyweight, the only country with a cushion to, make up for shortfall on supply anywhere else in the world. They have spare capacity. Their own production fell by half. So what was the response of the oil market? This happened over the weekend. So Monday when the market opened, first was a knee-jerk reaction, 19.5% increase in price.
Right.
But then came a statement from the US that should the need arise, we will draw from our own strategic reserves. Immediately, it came down to a 10% increase. Now, it's important to note that most refineries, most countries, they have 30 to 45 days, sometimes 60 days commercial reserves. If you take what refineries have, what is floating on the seas, and what's in the depots, there is a lot of reserve. In addition, the members of the IEA, the International Energy Agency, which is the developed countries' a body to counter OPEC, they have a norm of keeping 90 days supply.
They have strategic reserves.
Yeah, they have to keep that reserves, to be equipped for exactly these situations.
Okay.
So, so it's not a cause for panic. Countries can draw from that, but at the same time, see, India's concern, the way I look at it, I don't think we'll ever have a major supply problem.
Okay.
What the problem we are vulnerable to is the price problem, because there is a risk there could be warfare in the Middle East. There's a major oil source of the world, but I think the rest of the world, which depends on them for energy, is not going to sit quietly and let the violence escalate, or if it does, to let it go on for too long. But despite all this, it is important for India to continue its policy of diversifying its sources of crude oil.
Yes, yes.
If you look at the first quarter of the current fiscal year, compare it with last year, Middle East share has come down from around 67% to 57%.
Yes.
Which of course largely is because of we having stopped imports from Iran.
Okay.
We are buying much more from the United States. North America accounted for 5% of our crude in the first quarter of last year. This time it's around
diversification
10.5%.
Yes.
And the other thing to remember is that US is becoming more of a swing producer for the world fuel market, crude oil market, than Saudi Arabia.
Certainly.
Because the moment OPEC reduces prices or reduces supply, prices go up, and shale production suddenly becomes more viable.
All right.
So if so the point I'm making is very high prices will not be sustained for a long time, because then the US shale production will start going up.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
We are in a bit of a...
The power of OPEC to sustain high prices is probably not there, because over the long term, Mr. Sharma, prices seem to be declining. There's because of other avenues. The energy basket has certainly increased a great deal. And as a result of that, Mr. Sharma, perhaps prices are going to show a declining trend. And in fact, this year itself, you know, the prices have been stable around the $60 a barrel mark. It had only gone to about 74, and this is the second time it's reached, you know, those kind of highs. So it doesn't look like it's very volatile in a sense. Because of just the short term, it appeared that it's volatile. But if we look at the long-term period of the entire year, it's remained in this range, between 60 and 70.
Well, Mark, I agree as well as disagree with you.
Okay.
First of all, let me greet the friend Himanshu Watts, a very old friend from the media.
Yes.
We have enjoyed very good equations. Nice to be sharing the panel with him. When I said I agree and disagree, you see, this oil market is very peculiar. This market, when we talk of the spot prices means deliveries next month.
Okay.
So derivatives market is very, very active, and derivative markets move by sentiments. Right now the sentiments have become negative because of the uncertainty of the supply. And let me also say one more thing. The world does not have very much spare capacity. I was reading in the newspaper yesterday morning only that this 5.7 million ton, in case the supply gets reduced here, where from it can be met. Okay. US, Russia, other countries put together, all of them, that much spare capacity is not there right now. Okay. But thanks God, the statement came from Saudi also that they will be able to restore the supplies within this month, and their supplies will not be disrupted, and they will release their strategic reserves. That's a big comforting factor for India, but I feel prices in the long run are bound to move up.
Okay, so prices in the long term, Mr. Himanshu Watts, are likely to move up, and that comes from a man who understands the industry very well. What would you think India's strategy should be now? Because, well, we've already spoken to Rosneft. We are in, you know, we've got our supplies coming in from a wide variety of places. You did say the United States as well. So, I mean, it's not really dependent heavily so much on the Gulf oils.
Yeah. First of all,
if the crisis is in the Gulf, then we have other avenues.
Yeah. You know, I really respect what a person of Mr. R. Sharma's stature says. There is, you know, always this a risk premium being added to the oil price. That's the point taken. My only point is that if there is a medium to long-term trend of rising oil prices, then many more marginal shale deposits of US become viable, and that production starts. And one of the reasons, you know, if you look back 2 or 3 years when Saudi Arabia was going flat out producing, the whole idea was to make shale unviable. So there's always going to be this balance. Coming to your specific question on India's strategy, I think India has already followed a very good strategy. Diplomatically, we've maintained excellent relationships with all the major suppliers.
Okay.
It also makes commercial
sense. Which includes Iran.
It includes Iran, Russia, Saudi Arabia. Right. I mean, you know, there's an uproar in Pakistan today why Saudi Arabia is supporting India and not them. So that's been the extent of diplomacy.
Yes.
And it's also, you know, commercial reasons. India is a growing oil market. It used to be number 5 in the world. It became number 4. I think today it's number 3.
And India has to sustain a high growth rate because we are wanting to build a $5 trillion economy. Yes.
Exactly. So India is going to be an important energy consumer, and which is why, you know, companies like Saudi Arabia want to invest in an Indian refinery. Rosneft has invested in an Indian refinery. So part of the reason is they want to secure an oil market. You know, the moment you have investment in a refinery in India, then you can push that refinery to buy crude from them only. Right. So, you know, there are these short-term market disruption issues, but over the longer term, it is a emerging buyer's market where the seller is going out of his way to make sure that you can sell in this major market. So that's been an important part of India's strategy to capitalize on these things. The other is you know, conscious policy to diversify your sources of crude oil, which I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
And other initiatives like, you know, outside China, I think India had the world's biggest expansion of renewable energy capacity.
Okay.
There was a time we used to add maybe 100 megawatts in a year. We started adding 12, 13, 20,000.
Okay.
We went to a different orbit altogether.
Right.
There's a lot of push towards electric vehicles.
Yes.
Things are happening. So overall, this strategy is quite good. I think perhaps we can increase the strategic reserves to have a even more
Fair
level
enough.
of comfort.
So we need to increase our strategic reserves. Mr. Sharma, there are reports that suggest that China can actually capitalize and get a good deal out of this situation. There are some kind of articles written like that, an opinion. So India is also a huge consumer in that context, and as Himanshu was saying, a consumer that's going to increase its consumption because we need to sustain growth. Can we also get good deals? Trying to look at the situation because we are a huge buyer and it may be a buyer's market over time.
I wouldn't be able to say that totally it's a buyer market because as of now spare capacity is not much. I agree with Mr. Watts that in case the prices move up, the more and more the shale oil will get produced and that will get supplied this thing. But the issue is that right now the concern is can there be again this sort of disruption? Until now this Saudi producing facilities as well as processing facilities, they were deemed to be more than adequately secured against any aerial attack.
Okay.
But this drone attack has put a big question mark on that.
Okay.
Can these kind of disruptions happen again? If there's an escalation in war, can they be on a bigger scale? So perhaps that may be the reason Saudi, even US, they are not talking of any retaliatory action as of now. They are only seeking UN intervention to intervene and take corrective measures.
You've raised a very important point, Mr. Sharma.
But for us, since we are 83% import dependent, so since we are highly import dependent, what we need to do is we need to diversify. We need to make the economy more of a gas-based economy.
Okay.
Lot of this crude consumption should move to gas, and in comparative terms, gas is cheaper than oil. Also, is only the question of creating infrastructure.
Okay.
So I feel that as a strategy, India should definitely move towards gas-based economy, and some of the oil consumption should get converted into gas consumption.
Okay, Mr. Watts, apart from that, Mr. Sharma raised the point about drone attacks. Now this seems to be unprecedented. Maybe these oil facilities are not actually equipped to handle these kind of attacks, which can come from anywhere. So this is this element of surprise that can cause further disruptions depending on the situation of the conflict. So that also could be needs to be factored in this risk pricing that one is talking about.
So certainly the risk premium goes up. There's no doubt about that. And also responding to the other point Mr. Sharma raised
about the diversification.
I fully agree. It's not today a buyer's market, but even if you look at a country like Saudi Arabia, the crown prince there is talking of a post-oil economy, and it's in that futuristic sense they are going countries like India. So I mean that's a broad point. In the short term, those risks, all of that continues.
So even then, it would become a buyer's market if, as Mr. Sharma says, we are going to move from oil to gas. Because the movement to hydrocarbons, I mean, there are different forms of them, and there may be huge supplies and reserves in other parts of the world. Not only we don't have to be dependent on crude oil to that extent, and that would change the entire dynamics, wouldn't it?
I mean, that's a clear case that we have to reduce our dependence on crude oil. Gas is one of the ways out, and I'm pretty excited about electric vehicles and renewable energy because that is even cleaner than gas.
Yes.
Gas, of course, has the advantage. There's an existing infrastructure. You already have technology in vehicles to run on gas. Industries can run on gas. But I think the government has had a very good focus on increasing solar energy, increasing wind energy, They're talking of, huge investments in massive solar parks.
Right.
Because there the input is free, sunlight and wind.
Right.
So a combination of electric vehicles, a much bigger thrust towards the gas economy, all those are necessary. And to the extent you're importing liquids, you need to diversify, get into more comfort agreements with suppliers, whether it is Russia, Middle East, at some stage.
So, Mr. Sharma, what kind of investment would be required to, build infrastructure for a gas-based kind of infrastructure for the economy, when we are actually going to move beyond that into far more renewables? And, probably even gas would not be required. I mean, we're talking about the distant future. So for what extent of time and how much investment would one think of putting aside for you to try and develop gas infrastructure? Is it just, if we look at medium term, as in, let's say, in the next 20 to 30 years or something? Or what do you think? What's the length of time that we're going to be using gas?
Yeah. In fact, that's the moot question. In fact, had the infrastructure been there, I mentioned any day on like-to-like basis, I'm sure Himanshu would endorse that gas is cheaper than oil by almost 40%.
Okay.
All that transportation fuel, all the diesel on the railways, that should be getting converted if either to electricity or to gas.
Yes.
And in terms of supplies, LNG supply, there's lot of, as of now, surplus LNG supplies. LNG prices have really crashed.
Yes.
So as a strategy, the country should look to import more LNG, create right now there's no infrastructure. Even city gas distribution, we have gone so aggressively.
Okay.
But where is the infrastructure, pipeline infrastructure? That is a big limiting factor as of now.
Right.
There the investment has to come.
Sure. We've run short of time, but a final word from you, Mr. Watts. Is this long-term or short-term, this crisis?
This certainly is a passing crisis, but it will leave behind a long-term impact of a higher risk premium in the market.
Okay. We leave it on that. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us here on Newsnight and enlightening us on this particular problem, whether it is a challenge for India or not, and the measures that India has already put in place and could put in place to tide it over. We're going to move on to, we're taking a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue with our program.
Come on boys, let's go practice. अरे रुक यार, मेरे बैंक अकाउंट में गलत एंट्री का प्रॉब्लम हो गया है। तो बैंक को कंप्लेन करना। बैंक को लिखे 1 महीना हो गया है, बट वो गूगली पे गूगली डाले जा रहा है।
तो आरबीआई के बैंकिंग लोकपाल को इन्फॉर्म करो।
रुक, मैं समझाता हूँ। जैसे क्रिकेट में थर्ड अंपायर, वैसे ही आरबीआई का बैंकिंग ओम्बड्समैन। आरबीआई कहता है, अगर बैंक आपकी कंप्लेंट को 1 महीने में नहीं सुलझाता, तो आरबीआई के बैंकिंग ओम्बड्समैन में कंप्लेंट करो। यह आरबीआई का आसान तरीका है आपकी कंप्लेंट सुलझाने का, और वो भी फ्री।
समझे?
आरबीआई कहता है, जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
Welcome back. A short movie made with financial assistance from Prasar Bharati has been nominated for the Oscars. The movie is called Multibug. It revolves around the life and hard work of an octogenarian farmer from Uttarakhand, and it has been directed by the three-time National Award winner Nirmal Chandra. And let's look at this report.
Multibug, a short movie based on the life of an ordinary hard-working farmer from Uttarakhand, has been nominated for the Oscars. The film, made with the financial assistance of Doordarshan, is about the life of an 82-year-old farmer from Uttarakhand, Vidya Dutt Sharma. Vidya Dutt Sharma lives in Sanguda village of Kaljkal block of Pauri district. This is the first film from Uttarakhand to be showcased in a prestigious global platform like the Oscars. The film has been directed by three-time National Award winner निर्मल चंद्र दंडरियाल।
सर्वे नायब तहसीलदार, सर्वे एक्सपर्ट पद पर था, लेकिन अब मैं नहीं समझता कि धरती माँ मुझे बुला रही थी। मैंने 18/8/65 को रिजाइन कर दिया पिथौरागढ़ से। यहाँ समर्पित हूँ पूरी तरह से, और 52 साल मुझे हो गए। तब से आत्मनिर्भर हूँ, स्वाभिमानी जीवन, स्वावलंबी जीवन व्यतीत कर रहा हूँ।
Multibug is the name of the farm of the octogenarian farmer, set up in 1967. He has been putting in his hard work into his farm since then. In February this year, a giant radish grown in Vidya Dutt's farm is showcased at the district level at an event organized by the Horticulture Department, which is a record.
उस फिल्म में दिखाया गया है कि किस तरह से उत्तराखंड को सरसब्ज किया जा सकता है, गांव के बेरोजगार को रोजगार दिया जा सकता है, चकबंदी कितनी उपयोगी है, सारे सूत्र उसी पे उत्तराखंड के विकास के जुड़े हुए हैं। लेकिन दुर्भाग्य की बात यह है कि हमारी सरकारें, हमारा राजनीतिक पक्ष, हमारे सामाजिक सरोकार से जुड़े लोग इस बात को समझ नहीं पाते।
Uttarakhand Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat expressed happiness at Multibug's nomination for the Oscars. He tweeted, "The film is an inspiration for today's generation to serve the land. The film has best exemplified the efforts to combat migration." The film was also awarded Best Documentary at the International Short Film Festival in Kerala. It is a story that highlights the issues related to migration, the environment, farming and hard work that farmers put in, irrespective of the hardships and challenges they face in their day-to-day lives. Bureau Report, DD News.
And now news from across the country. Here's our regional roundup.
A Delhi court has deferred hearing on a bail plea of Karnataka Congress leader D.K. Shivkumar, arrested in a money laundering case by the ED. CPWD organized a seminar at Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi to promote new ways of buildings in the public sector. Housing and Urban Development Minister Hardeep Singh Puri inaugurated it. A CPWD website related to construction technology was also launched on the occasion. Former Haryana Chief Minister Bhupinder Singh Hooda appeared before the CBI Special Court in Panchkula in connection with the AJL land allotment case and Manesar land scam case. Central government to inaugurate Advanced Landing Ground ALG at Vijayanagar, Arunachal Pradesh, located along the Indo-China border.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party trailed its main rival Blue and White by 31 to 32 seats after an unprecedented repeat election, putting the country's longest-serving premier on shaky ground and raising the possibility of a unity government. Israelis voted on Tuesday in their country's second general election in 5 months after the 69-year-old Netanyahu failed to form a governing coalition with a viable majority following April's vote. The Central Election Committee said that Blue and White parties seemed to be taking a lead over Likud after 91% of the votes were counted. As per the figures shared by the CEC, the centre-left bloc has 56 seats compared to Netanyahu-led bloc comprising the right-wing and ultra-orthodox parties, which has 55 seats in the 120-member parliament. The joint list, an alliance of mostly Arab Israeli parties, has also gained a seat, standing at 13. Now, these numbers may change slightly when the votes of the soldiers are counted later on Wednesday and Thursday. And the secular Israel Bitenu party won 9 seats, making its leader and former defense minister Avigdor Lieberman the kingmaker in the elections, as predicted earlier in the polls. So let's look at some sports news now. And chasing a moderate target of 150 runs, the opening pair of Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan got India off to a flying start, and they added 30 runs in the first 3 overs. But then Felukwalo gave South Africa the first breakthrough by removing Rohit Sharma for 12 runs. Shikhar Dhawan was the second man to go. He was dismissed by Shamsi for 40. David Miller took a stunning catch. Currently, South Africa, in fact, India are batting at 104 for the loss, 111 for the loss of 3 wickets, requiring 39 runs to win of 34 balls. That's the current position. India looks pretty much in the driver's seat. Now, earlier, excellent death bowling by the Indian bowlers restricted South Africa to a below-par score of 149 for 5. This is the second T20 international at Mohali. The first one was washed out at Dharamshala. The openers Reza Hendricks and Quinton de Kock gave a good start to South Africa, and they added 31 runs for the first wicket. Deepak Chahar provided the first breakthrough for India when he got rid of Reza Hendricks to a mistimed shot. This is to Washington Sundar. It happened in the 4th over. Quinton de Kock looked in good nick and brought up a half-century with a boundary against Ravindra Jadeja in the 11th over. And de Kock's 50, in fact, came with 35 balls with 8 boundaries. Quinton de Kock made 52 runs and remained top scorer for South Africa. And the debutant Themba Bavuma was impressive during the 43-ball stay at the crease. He missed out on a half-century by a whisker, getting caught out at the start of the 18th over by Cheher. 149 for 5 is what South Africa scored. Well, the Indian wrestler Vinesh Phogat won the bronze medal after she registered an emphatic 4-1 victory over Greece's Maria Prevails. And earlier in the day, Vinesh became the first Indian wrestler to seal her spot at the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games as she cruised to a dominating 8-2 win over the reigning Olympic silver medalist Sarah Hildenbrand to seal an Olympic quota and advance to the bronze medal playoff. And on that note of good news, we conclude Newsnight for tonight. Thank you very much for being with us. Namaskar.